talk show. Before I move ahead, let me quickly read out this very important disclaimer. By watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. All right, after this very important disclaimer, welcome back, everyone. I'm Rajni Bharara, your host, and we are excited to have you with us today for what promises to be an insightful and informative episode. Whether you're tuning in live or catching up later, we appreciate you joining us. So, today, we have a very special guest making his debut on our show, Mr. Prashant Ajmera, a highly respected immigration lawyer with over 39 years of experience in corporate and migration law. Mr. Ajmera is a true trailblazer in the field of residency and citizenship by investment, especially through the EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program. Back in 1999, he hosted the very first EB-5 investment program seminar in India, and since then, he has helped countless individuals and families unlock doors to US residency and beyond. He's also a Canadian citizen, author, and a sought after speaker who has been guiding high net worth individuals around the world. His books, Millionaires on the Move and World, his books, Millionaires on the Move and How to Plan Your Child's Foreign Education in 2020 NE, have been game changers for many. We are thrilled to have him with us today to dive deep into the EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program and how it can open new pathways to US residency. I'm so sorry about that. So without any further ado, let's give him a warm welcome. And yes, so welcome home to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. So welcome, Prashant. This is your debut, the first time coming on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. So very warm welcome.
Thank you, Rajni. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here. I always wanted to be on some live shows, and this is my debut for the first time. So thank you very much.
It's an honor having you here, Prashant. We discussed a lot about what we are going to cover and what topic we are going to pick, for the first episode, and
Sure.
EB-5. I think this is your favorite topic, if I'm not wrong, to talk about, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Great. Okay, so Prashant, today we are going to talk about EB-5, Immigrant Investor Program, and how it can open doors to US residency. So could you give a brief about what can people and the audiences who have joined us or will be joining in a bit can expect from today's episode?
So basically, we're going to talk about giving you the brief history about the EB-5, talking about what is the basic requirement of the EB-5, how it started, so what now it has changed under the new law, what are the new rules and regulations, what are the new protections are there for protecting the investors, and what are the new projects available. And the most important part is that after a long time, generally the question asked by the EB-5 investor is about, or any immigrants who's looking for a visa, how long it is going to take. And I think this is a golden time for the EB-5 for an Indian investors, because it's the first time after a long years, now it is coming to an end where it is taking a shorter time to become a permanent resident under the EB-5 program. So next few months is going to be quite crucial and important for the investors who are interested in investing under the EB-5 program and obtain the American residency and eventual citizenship.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And we actually recorded one video where we talked about topmost 20 countries who actually got green cards. In this year, in 2024, India was at number 3. So I think it's with EB-5 coming into the picture, I think it's going to be a good time. And also recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he visited the US, right? And they had few deals sign up, right, Prashant? So do you think that it's going to be like America and India, they are going to have good ties and things are going to be good for Indian nationals?
Yes, it is going to be good for the Indian nationals. Up till now, if you look at the history of the last 50 years, Before the EB-5 got introduced to India in 2014, I would say officially, when the remittance of the money was allowed out of the India, we were looking only USA in the terms of the skilled workers, studies, H1 visas, L1 visas, and getting in the green card under the EB-2 and EB-3 categories. But when the remittance allowed and when people started coming to know high net worth individuals, people who are in a business, people who are already in USA, who has made their fortune, that this is a new way to obtain the US green card and much more efficient and a quicker way. It has become a most sought of after the visa, you can say, for in the USA, because all our employment based visa categories, the quota remains the same since last 32 years. It hasn't changed, but the line is increasing, and this is the one line which hasn't increased the way in which people would like to see it. But those who are ready to make an investment, I think this is a, I mean, again, I'm repeating, but it's a golden opportunity to do it in the next 4 to 6 months' time for sure.
Wow, wow, that's a good news. So that also sounds amazing. But Prashant, also, before I talk about and before I get into the topic, I still would like to ask one question. Elections are coming up for the US people, right? So they have, that there is some few people are supporting the Democrat Party, few are supporting the Republicans. So some are saying if Kamala Harris becomes the president, then it is going to be good for the Indian people. But some are saying if Trump comes to the office, then it is going to be good for the Indian nationals. So what do you think in terms of, US?
Yes, yeah, you are right, Rajni. Means I've been practicing immigration law in Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand, all the English-speaking
Right,
country. So it's always a question between the political party, conservatives and liberal, or Republican and liberal.
right, right.
That when the liberal comes up, the regulation becomes very liberal, and when the conservative comes, it becomes very strict. Same thing happened in Canada. Same thing that has happened in UK, and it is like an, you can say, up and down swing going on a continuous basis. The average people who are interested in immigrations and everything should not worry about that one. It's taking its own toll. We are not going to make a $2 to $5 billion investment, so not to worry about that. Continue doing that one. Yes, when you get an opportunity, my advice to people is that when you get an opportunity, and if you think that you qualify and you want to immigrate, do it. Do not wait that okay, now this will happen and I'll do this, time will increase and I will do it, or when this will happen then do it, because you are dealing with the government in any country when you are dealing with immigration and visa, right? And it is continuously changing process like a rainbow, and
Right,
if you don't take that advantage of that one when you qualify, you miss the boat.
right, right.
And
So,
that
so,
I have
so,
seen over the period of time, number of times that people say that okay, when I used to do Canada immigration, people say yeah, when time increases I'll do it, let my brother finish his, then I will apply, or my let my friend get it and then I'll do it. But by the time the rule has changed, your occupation is no more there, or investment amount has changed when it comes to an EB-5. Means in 2019 it was half a million. For almost 27, 28 years the investment amount for the EB-5 was half a million. Now it has become an 800,000. So the people who has made an investment before 21st November 2019, they're laughing all the way that okay, we got it, we got a real deal.
yeah.
So I mean basically, and again, the EB-5 amount is going to change by 1st September 2027. It's going to increase by 5 to 7%. Now inbuilt inflation regulation is there. So again, if you say that okay, I'll do it after 2 years, amount is going to go near 900, 925, 960 to eight, from 800,000. So it is going to increase.
Okay, okay. So do you suggest like 2024 is the right time to do the investment if one really wants to?
For the for the particularly these 2 3 countries, like as you mentioned about the India is a number 3 country, China is
Uh-huh.
quite backlog, but still the number of
Mhm.
application is increasing from China. Vietnam is the second, and we are the number 3. Uh, See now what has happened in the Indian market. If you see when it comes to an EB-5, that the amount has increased, the source of fund has become difficult. There is a TCS, tax collection as source to be added, so it has become a quite expensive ticket. And in that case, the number of inquiries are there, but the number of people applying of an Indian origin is not as much as we would like to see with all the stakeholders. So if you in the 1.5 year like back, the processing
Right.
time was showing almost 3.5 years to 4 years. Fast forward, as of 15th of September in the new visa bulletin, it shows the timing of April 2022.
Oh.
So timing is reduced from 3.5 years to 4 years to 2 years, and they are
Mm-hmm.
issuing a visa at the Mumbai and Delhi consulate of January 2022. So answering one of the question, which is going to be a major question, that what it is going to take, how long it is going to take. The rumor, what has happened in the past is gone. It's a golden time to apply for an EB-5. And this is there on a priority list given by the government. It's not a secret or an open thing. And
Mm-hmm.
my belief is that it is going to go much faster as well, for a very simple reason, that in April 2022, when the new law came in, for
Mm-hmm.
9 months, there was no regional centers and projects were approved by the USCIS. So people could not submit their file. So it is going to go ahead. Now, I'll give you an example, Rajni.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 2 years, almost 400,000 or 450,000 people, students, went to America.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
compared to that, the EB-5s are less than 500. So it's a very small numbers
Wow.
people are applying under this one, because many projects are not there. A lot of compliance requirement has come from the USCIS and SEC in the USA. So the small and medium-sized businessmen, particularly of the South Asian origins from USA, who wish to or who were raising the fund under the EB-5s, are no more in a position to do it. They can do it only like a one investors per business, which is a standalone or a direct investment. Otherwise, they used to do it, because what the government has done, it is a very smart thing. They, when they saw that at the peak there were 1,800 regional centers were there, they realized it that most of these regional centers or these people who are raising the fund, they are the small and medium-sized enterprise. They are raising 5, 10 investors, and that's good enough for them. So that's I'm talking about the South Asian business community in USA.
Mm-hmm.
USA government and SEC, I don't think that they didn't wanted to manage them or monitor them. They don't have a time, money, and resources to do that. So they made a rule that if you are taking without a regional centers, if you want to take the investors under the EB-5, you can have a one business and a one investors. That's it. It's a private deal, and we don't want to
Okay.
monitor that. But if you want to raise more than one investors in your business, whether it's a two or a 200 or 2,000, you are under our radar, under USCIS and SEC both, and we are watching you guys,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't want happen what has happened in the past, a lot of frauds and bad
Right.
projects and people losing money, which gives you
Mm-hmm.
bad reputations to the country. And that
Yeah.
has basically reduced the investors from USA to USA, and then
Mm-hmm.
regional centers from 1,800 to 600.
Wow.
So
That's a
that
big
many
drop,
regional
right?
centers, big drop, yes, because now
Very
they
big
saw
drop.
that yeah, because they
Uh-huh.
see that the compliance requirement is so high there, and the
Mm-hmm.
cost of that one is so high, you cannot survive. Like some of the people has taken a regional centers license across the USA, and they
Mm-hmm.
were basically giving out their regional centers on a lease basis to the projects to do that one. Now, even if you have regional centers, you have to pay certain fees to the USCIS per investors. You have to do the fees every year. You have to do the audits. You have to keep the records for a period of 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see that how many investors you are bringing, and so on and so forth. All those things needs to do it, which is not possible.
Wow.
And that's why they basically they surrender, or it has been cancelled. And my guess is, based on talking to the other professionals and people, that by next year there will not be more than 200 regional centers in America, not more than 200, and there will not be more than 25 viable good projects available, compared to 300, 400 what you used to be before. So it is going to be very narrow selections available, but it would be a good projects, monitored and regulated by the USCIS and SEC, with a lot of, or I would say, complete protections to the investor, which wasn't there under the old rules.
Okay, okay. I also would like to ask you that how can it be corrected? How can the numbers go up? It was you said 1800 and then it dropped to somewhere around 600, right? 600 was the number that you said, Prashant?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to know from you that how can it be corrected and how can the numbers go again up? But before you answer that, I would like to greet people because a lot of people have joined us and have also posted their questions over here. Yaya has joined
Sure.
us from LinkedIn and he says hello. Hello to you too, Yaya. And Yaya, please post your questions, whatever that you would like to know from Prashant. Please post them in the comments below so that we can take your questions. And Abhijit is also here. Hi, Abhijit. And Meena is also here. Sushant is here. Hi, guys. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're enjoying this conversation. We are 15 minutes into the show and we have not yet started, our own questions that we have prepared for you for the topic. But the conversation is great. We are having it's a great start to the show and great start to the topic also. So Prashant, coming back to the question again, how can the numbers again go up and how can it be corrected? Do you have an
See now, what is going to happen is that number will increase, but number will increase based on the real good businesses and sizable businesses, where those sizable developers, sizable business people will look into the raising the capital using EB-5, which requires an exercise to take the permissions of the regional centers from the USCIS, which requires the permissions, and that is now become a more cumbersome process. And as the law is only a year and a half or 2 years old, the many lawyers, many regional centers owners, and the old new business people who wants to get into it, they are getting accustomed to the basically the new law and its requirements that if we have a lot of business in future or development is happening in the futures, then we can raise the money. Like I give you an example. Up till now, I have never seen, but now recently we got a hold of, and they are my clients now, that the top 6 or 7 franchise brand or fast food brand in USA, they have now put together their regional centers and they are offering the investment into their new stores, not into the direct franchises, but they are doing it. But this processing is taking a longer time. So it will increase, but it will be a good and viable business. And again, the good news for the investor is that these investors, I mean, regional centers and businesses are being monitored by the USCIS and SEC, Security and Exchange Commissions, and US immigrations. And that is the good news for the investors to basically, you can say, protections for that investment. Also, it's a good faith investment. There is a provision in the law, in the new law, that if you have made an investment in a good faith and for some reason your regional centers or business collapse or close down, you can transfer your investment from that investment to the somewhere else and you will not lose your priority dates or your green card and so on and so forth. So these kind of protections are there as well uh, in the new regulations, which is really a good news, which we never thought that this kind of protection would be there for an investors, but it is there. And we are very helpful that it will basically, you can say, the some of the shady characters would be out of the business. And you know that immigration is always a sketchy business, all the way from, I would say, street to the White House. Always the scams are always there, scamsters are always there in this business. But I think the EB-5 is taking a direction in the right directions, giving us a confidence, giving the should give an investor the confidence if he makes his due diligence, if he goes into that one, talk to right immigration attorneys or educate himself. There isn't enough information available. Educate himself about the new laws and new regulations and what protections are there. I think it would be wonderful that he will have better confidence, which wasn't there before March 2022.
right. Right, and also, Prashant, since happened, it things up, right? So, do you think with the EB-5 program, especially with US economy bouncing back, do you think this EB-5 investment will make an impact in the economy bouncing back? Do you think something of this sort happening?
See, the EB-5 becomes a more popular when the interest rate rises in America. And
Okay,
that's
wow.
exactly what has happened. That right now, the borrowing the money from the bank has gone very expensive. So for the American businesses who are putting up the business together under the EB-5, they see is as a good opportunity to raise the fund under the EB-5, whereby they are giving a very low interest or a return to the investors because they are getting their green card. So they might
Right.
be borrowing from the bank, say anything between 6 to 8%, but with EB-5 they can basically raise it between 3 to 5% or 3 to 4%. So if you have a 4% break in
Mm-hmm.
your investment in your business when you are building a motels or doing a real estate constructions or building a restaurant chains, it is a big number change and the bottom line becomes a very strong very soon because the
Mm-hmm.
you are borrowing at the cheaper rate.
Wow.
So as far as
Okay,
the
okay.
borrowing cost in America remains high, the EB-5 is going to remain popular for a lot of means the real estate investors, a lot of people who are into the developing and expanding the business. You'll be surprised. Recently, I was contacted by the one of the companies who is dealing in the space station. They want to take the they wanted to take the certain people to the space. They are working with the number one guys of our generations, Mr. Tesla.
Uh-huh.
That if the private investors wants to make an investment into the this age means this industries under the EV5s, they are interested in making it. So means all kinds of companies are coming forward and looking for an EB-5 investment because they see that this is a cheaper way to bring the money into your business in America. Yep.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know. For some reason, I think my internet dropped or something happened. I'm so sorry about that. And sorry to
No
interrupt
problem.
your insightful answer, also, Prashant. But, that sounds great. So I think it's for investment and for EB-5, especially EB-5 investment, I think we are going to see a good time, right? The future
Yep.
looks good.
Absolutely.
Future looks bright. Wow,
Absolutely.
wow.
Future looking.
But now, Prashant, with this, I would also like to come to you and let me quickly also greet the other viewers because a lot of our new viewers have also joined us. Rajesh, Alfredo, hi. He says hi from Argentina. Hi, Alfredo. Anil is also here. Guys, please post your questions. We will be taking up in a while. But Prashant, I would also like to know from you that if you can give an overview of what exactly was EB-5 and how did it actually come into existence?
See, the
Who thought of,
EB-5 is,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not something new. The EB-5 was existed since 1990s. But the people coming to USAs were coming under these student visas and H1s, and they were getting their green cards in 2 3 years. Nobody bothered about the EB-5, but EB-5 came into the existence in 1992, and I was involved with, as I mentioned to you when we were talking before the show, that I got involved with EB-5 in 1998, 99 when we did the first seminars in India's. But at the times, I think for Indian market, I was ahead of the market that there was no remittance was allowed. The trigger was that in 1986, the Canadian government came up with the business immigration program, and the Canadian prime ministers and Indian president met each others, and they said, "What's new going on?" And Brian Mulroney, our prime minister, said that like we have a now new business immigration program. So he says, "What is this business immigration program?" He says, "Well, the people make an investment and they get an immigration." So at that time, they come up with these rules, which they call it a pilot programs or an EB-5, whereby you have a $1 million investment, created 10 jobs, and you get your green card uh, for life and then citizenship. But if you make this investment into regional areas or the underdeveloped areas, or you can say high unemployment area, just to keep it general, I'm not using the legal terms, then your investment will reduce from half million to a half a million. And that law remained from 1992 till 2022. It didn't change. But up
Wow.
till 2010, Rajni, the 10,000 quota, this was the only category of American immigration which was never full,
Okay. Wow.
that was never taken back.
Uh-huh.
Because before 2010, we have done EB-5s where people come on a visitor visas and they got their
Right.
green card in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But two things happened in 2009 and 10. One, we know about the Libman brothers. That was the
Mm-hmm.
one event. And second event was at the same time that happened was the Canadian Investor Program was closed down by the Canadian government. And that's basically triggered the interest from the Chinese investors to make an investment into American market using EB-5. So within 2009 to 14, it was subscribed. That
Mm-hmm.
first time by 2013 and 14, the 10,000 quotas were taken by Chinese, and it was not known in Indian market at all. But that's the point in
Okay.
time that things happen in India, that the Reserve Bank of India announced that Indian citizen can remit 250,000 US dollar per year per person. And that's basically opened the door for the residency and citizenship by investment market in India. And obviously the two most popular program in India is the Canadian investment programs and EB-5.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, we saw like people, I started doing the seminars, advertisement officially, and market started taking an interest. And then people could not believe that could there be an EB-5 by an investment. I'll give you an example. In
Sure.
2006, I participated in a show, trade show by the Iowa Asian American Hotel Owners Association. That was in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my booth with one of the leading regional centers promoting EB-5.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get any clients, and most of the people who came on my booth, they said that this is humbug, this is a joke. There is no such visa category like in EB-5. And now the same business people who are in hotel industries are coming up with their own EB-5, and some of them
Wow.
I remember them. So, so this is how the story has happened with the EB-5 over the period of time, and the other things that happened on the Indian side is that our economy has changed. The
Mm-hmm.
spending power of the people has changed.
Right.
Whereby, if you see that in the last 15 years, the people coming to America, people like my generations and generation before me came only for master's program. But
Mm.
now the parents in India, the parents out of America wants their children to study abroad after the grade 12 for the undergrads and for the masters. So that's the big shift. People don't realize it, but that's the big shift. And that's also creates the problem for the financial problem for the parents. That master
Mm-hmm.
is cost you only 30 50,000 dollars, only 30 to $50,000. But if you do the undergrad for 4 years, you're talking about between 150 to $200,000. And if you have two children with $400,000 in an investment, what happens? And because of the IT booms and everything, as you know, that EB-2 and EB-3 category for Indian citizen line is like forever. And
Yeah.
that's where the Indian parents and the Indian children started looking those who can afford
Mm-hmm.
that EB-5 is our way. And then it started two markets. One is that the people who are already in America on H1 or an L1 visa, but who can afford, that they started making an investment in EB-5. And on the other hand, the parents who are in America, in India, or family who is left over in India, they'll say that, okay, I can't get them under the family class, I can't get them under the H1s or the EB-1 and EB-2. EB-5 is my tool to bring my relatives, or EB-5 is for me to go to America. So that's how the door has started opening for a people, that in 1993, half a million was a lot of money. Now, if you
Yeah.
say that even 800,000, with the economy changing in India, particularly,
Mhm. Right.
I mean, people are ready to make an investment, which I never thought that this kind of investment people will make. Give you an example. There's one girl, recently graduated, and she was taking a job, and father says, I'm sending you $1 million and buy a house. But his financial advisor says, where is the green card for your daughter? He says, yeah, she will get it. He says, well, better go and talk to Prashant. He came to me for a 1 hour consultation, and he changed his mind. He says, no more house. He called his daughter right in front of me. I'm investing in this real estate to get you a green card. So she says, better, because she knew that it is going to take forever to get a green card. But with this one, she will get a green card in less than 2 years' time.
Wow.
And she's
So,
the only child, and she wanted to.
Prashant, so people can, immigration attorneys can also give you the right advice where to invest, right? Because people,
See, no, yes and no, I
absolutely.
would say, Rajni. But see, by law, when you are in America, they cannot recommend something to make an investment, but they will say that, okay, these are the two, three good projects, have a look at it, do your due diligence. Because if you are representing a regional center as an immigration attorney, that means you are making your money from that regional centers. Then to promote them or to advise that one to somebody that this is the good investment, do it, it's a conflict of interest. So most of the
Right.
immigration attorney will not do it. But what they will do, or what they can do, or they are doing it, is that, look, these are the two, three good projects, have a look at it yourself and do your own due diligence. Or probably for the legal purpose, probably for the financial purpose, better to have your own attorney or a CPA to look at it this one. But also there are so many other ways to look at it. Like this is, you can say, it's an investment into a private equity. You are making an investment into a private equity. So either if you can do it by yourself, which is good. If you cannot do it by yourself, take a help of the good attorneys or a good financial advisors, and they can advise you on a good projects and everything.
Great, great. And also Prashant, learning about history is always beautiful. And now, especially, at this age, unlike schools, because schools, I don't think so. We like learning about, history classes this much. But now,
Right.
history is something that makes you learn so much about so many things. So, EB-5's history, the way you narrated, it sounds so amazing, and also very different, right? Because earlier, like you said, people considered it as a joke when you were doing shows, right? They came to you
Right.
and they
Yeah. Yeah.
said,
Absolutely.
that's a
Yeah.
joke, and now they have come up with their own EB-5s. So,
They only be
that's
fine.
pretty.
Yes. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
now let me quickly take my next question. But before I take my next question, but people have also joined us. So let me quickly take one or few questions from them as well. How about that, Prashant?
Sure. No problem.
Okay. So Abhijit is here. He says,
Yeah.
I have couple of questions. Is the overall process at least 4 years long? After the 2 year conditional green card, do you automatically receive a 10-year green card?
See the overall process. Your conditional green card is just like if you come under the marriage sponsorship, the green card is the same, but there is a condition attached to it which is there not on your green card but in the government computer. That means that when you have physically entered or received your green card or you enter United States, then you have a 21 months, and before 24 months you have to file another petition to show it to the US government that you have kept your investment for a minimum period of 2 years and it has created 10 jobs. If that condition is fulfilled, then the condition is removed, but your green card will continue, and your timing for the citizenship will continue the day one when you arrive in US.
Okay. Okay. So, Abhijit, I hope you have got your answer. He also has a part two, by the way. So, I would also like to take the part two. And the part two says also, I have noticed that many people choose a real estate development. Could you explain why that might be the case, apart from the fact that construction also typically takes around 2 years?
For reason is the job creation. See, the original purpose of EB5 is what? They bring in the investment to a rural area, high unemployment area, and create a job for the local people. Now, the way in which it is structured and the rules what provides The construction industry is the one where you can take into considerations the direct and indirect job creation. What is direct and indirect job creation, Rajini? Say, for example, you are building a hotel, which is a
Mhm.
25 floor, but the jobs or manpower or man hours taken to build from the foundation to all the way when you finish and start operations, all those man hours are being counted as an indirect jobs, and people who are going to work in the hotels are considered as a direct jobs. So that gives you a lot of job creation, and that's why it is a favorite for the real estate industry in USA to consider the EB-5. For the other people, it is becoming a challenging to create a 10 jobs. Some of the industries or some of the businesses I have seen it, like say for example, you have a large sports bar or a sports restaurants, like the big one in USA where you have a Friday, Saturday night, people are drinking and watching games and pizzas or eating burgers. Those restaurants chains I have seen where people can create a 10 job in one restaurant, and that restaurant can be up and running in no time. I have seen people building like a Montessori, where you can create a 10 to 15 jobs and that EB-5 can work. Another one which I'm doing right now with is not the real estate, but it's a franchise business. The top franchises of the world is owned by the one company who has a more than 500 franchise restaurants, and their restaurants would be up and running in a shopping mall in 3 to 6 months time. So the worries what Abhijit or Abhijit, yeah, Abhijit has mentioned
Abhijit, yeah.
the 2 years time. Yeah, he is right that it does take that kind of a time to complete it and do it. But now this I see this kind of projects coming up in the market whereby everything is going to be up and running in a short period of time. You don't have to wait long period of time. Also, the another advice I give, when you look at the real estate, there are two three different models are there which is there in the market. People don't realize it, that there are small developers and medium sized developers are there. They do not promote the mark projects, but that is being promoted by the people who are bringing the finances to the projects, or people who are specialized in marketing the real estate projects, you know and those ones are the one which might take a longer period of time. So generally I try to work with the big developers who are in the business for a long time, who are their main core interest is real estate developments, and they have never failed in their projects. Because many projects right now coming up, Rajni, where people are doing their EB-5 for the first time, they have not got all their approvals in the place, documents are not being done, and they are talking about their projects, which is kind of a risky. So when I do the like layman's due diligence, is very simple. Am I dealing directly with the developers? Number one. Number two, am I dealing with, do they have this means USCIS projects and regional center approval? Yes. Do they have how many years in the business as a real estate developers? How many years in EB-5 business? Uh, those are the basic questions if you ask, just like a layman. You don't have to read that 2000 pages of the ppm and the business plans and all those things together. It's more than 2000 pages for most of the projects. Then you got your answers that yes, I'm dealing with somebody who is in a real estate business for a long time. Real estate development is they're passionate about it. This is what they want to do. Whether it will happen or not, they want to complete the projects, they want to take it further. The EB-5 is just one way to raise the money so their project becomes more viable, the break even becomes earlier than the later, and it becomes a more profitable. If this is the kind of a criteria, you keep it in mind, and if you look at it, the EB-5 projects, you will not have a difficulties. But generally what I've seen in our Asian markets and even in China as well, people tend to go with their friends and relatives, which is good. Go
Right.
with the friends and relatives, provided you can ask the same questions what you can ask the stranger about the project. Because when you go with the friends and relatives, the friends or relative will say, don't worry about it, I live with you in your village and we are buddies and we are the same families, you don't have to worry about it. But when it comes to the real question and answers, you have a lot of surprises. And then you say that, oh, wish I could have asked this. So going with the relatives and friends projects, it's obviously good. Provided condition is that can you ask the same questions what you can ask to a stranger about your investment. If that's the criteria satisfied, go for it.
Wow. Thank you so much for such detailed answer, Prashant and Abhijit. I hope you have got your answer. In case you have a follow up, please continue posting them in the comments. Prashant, to come back to you, you explained so beautifully, but with this, people for people who have funds and who want to also make an investment and also want to obtain a green card and a resident permanent residency, do you think this investment and EB-5 program is the best route for them?
If you have a money
Okay.
and if you can make it, and if you decided that you want to stay in America, whether you are already in America on some non-immigrant visas, or you are in out of America but you want to move to USA for your family's futures, children's educations, expansion of business, quality of life, then this is the shortest line.
Okay.
There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt
Oh,
about it.
okay.
This is the
Shortest
shortest
and the
line.
best. Okay.
So shortest and best. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great. And like, if you can also explain, what basic requirements for someone who wants to apply, who might be watching this show and
So
just learned
under the
about your
new
business
rules,
for the
yeah,
time.
the under the new rules, Rajani, the requirement is very, very basic, simple. But then the explanations of that one goes into the pages and like rules and regulations. So the basic requirement of the US government in layman's term is that if you are a businessman, not a businessman, whatever you are, foreigner,
Mhm.
if you can make an investment of $1 million and 50,000 in a new business, or you acquire an old business but expand that business anywhere in
Right.
America and create a 10 full-time jobs, 10 full-time jobs. And if you can show that from your money, what you are investing is acquired from a legal source, we
Right.
are ready to give you a green card under the EB-5. Employment based visa category number 5. That's EB-5.
Okay. And
And
how much investment is typically required?
right. So the number, if your business is located in an area, then where there is a high unemployment or it's a rural area, which they call it a targeted employment area, then investment would be reduced to 800,000. So the anywhere in America, investment amount is million and a 50,000 US dollar. But if it is a high unemployment area or a rural area, then your investment amount is reduced from million and 50 to 800,000. The condition remains the same,
Okay.
10 full-time jobs to be created and same source of funds. Now the good news for these regional centers and everything is that there are 10,000 visas are there, but the 32% of the quota is reserved for these rural areas and high unemployment area and the infrastructure. So for example, you are putting up a business or your business is in a rural area, there is no waiting time. And if you are in USA, you can file your 526 and the adjustment of status 485 simultaneously, and you get your employment authorization at the same time. That is the new rules for the EB-5, where if you are in, I'm repeating myself, if you are in USA and if your project becomes available in a high unemployment area or a rural area, the quota available is current for Indian citizen, and but other citizen is also current except China and Vietnam. Then you can file a do the they call it a concurrent filing, because generally what happens in EB-2 and EB-3 that you wait for your approval. Once the approval is received, then you when your visa become available, then only you can file for your adjustment of status, right? But in EB-5 now they are allowing to do a concurrent filing. So basically for some people in the next few months, if they are in USA and if they made an investment in EB-5, they will have their basically adjustment of status in few months and green card in less than a year and a half.
Wow. That's great. That's great. Uh-huh.
Yes, yeah. So that's the
Okay.
basic requirement. You have it. And when it comes to doing the business, you can do it. I generally try to explain to my clients in the three ways that you can do a business in your own three ways. One is
Mhm.
you have a business idea which you think that it will create a 10 jobs
Mhm.
and it will require a $1 million investment. It could be any legal business. It could be IT business. It could be call centers. It could be service centers. It could be a garage, restaurants, whatever you want to do it. And if it creates a 10 full-time jobs, perfect, you've done it. Many times, if you are out of America, then you do not have an experience of doing the business in America. But then I'll say to my clients that probably you have your friends or relatives who are in business in America,
Mhm.
and they are probably building some new restaurants or store or a gas station or a truck station or a hotel or motel. So under
Right.
the new rules, ask them what is the address, and based on the address you can decide to make an investment into that of 800,000 or a million and a 50. And if that they are creating 10 full-time jobs, you got your green card with doing the business with your relatives and friends. So that's the second part. The third one is that if you cannot do either of these ones, then there are regional center based businesses and projects are available, which Abhijit asked about the real estate. So, what is the
Mhm.
regional centers, Rajni? Regional center is basically in USA, the population is counted by the tracts. They call it a small pockets or a small area.
Mhm.
And that tracts are combined together. If you make a bigger tract, then it becomes a geographically wider area. So, for say, for example, if you are in a New York, then you say that okay, it's a Bronx areas and it's a Whitefield areas and so forth. So these areas, if you combine together, and if you show it to the USCIS that this geographical area which we have designed is has a high unemployment, then that area would be declared by USCIS as a regional center.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's like something like a we call it in India like a free trade zone. So this
Mm.
area is described as a regional centers. So it can include the good part of the city, the bad part of the city is high unemployment area of the city, but it is combined together, which gives you
Mhm.
better flexibility for a businessman or a developer to put up his business in that area, where he can take an advantage of the direct or indirect job creations in this business to attract the EB-5
Mhm.
investment into his project. So that's where he got the first approval, which is an EB regional center approval. Once you got your regional center approval, then under the new rules for the protection of the investors, you have to provide your business plans and how you're going to create the jobs, what money you are putting it down, what money you have received from the bank as a loan or a mortgage, and what you are
Mhm.
raising from an EB-5 under the EB-5 investors. That also you are required to submit it to the USCIS. Once you are submitted and you have
Mhm.
received an acknowledgement and in a better way the approval, then only you can file the EB-5 on that project. So the two questions which the investor should ask to their regional centers or whom are doing it: Do you have a
Mhm.
regional center approval? It's a one-page letter. Can I have
Mhm.
that one? Do you have a project approval? So you are sure, because a lot of projects are going in the market where they probably might have just got the regional centers or may not have got it. Project is still in the pipeline, but they started raising the capitals and they do not tell the investors that, well, we are still in the process. And there is nothing wrong with that one. But say, for example, the approval is not received. There is a query raised by the USCIS. The city
Right.
permission is not received for your constructions. The
Mhm.
civil permission is not received for your development. What do? Then you are stuck. So these are the first two things you have to ask. So there are several simple questions you can ask when you want to make an investment in the EB-5. Since how long you are in a business? Since how long you are in EB-5 business? How many
Mhm.
projects you have done it? Do you have a regional center approval? Do you have the EB-5 project approvals? If these single questions you ask, and one another question I generally ask people to it when they are raising say 100 million, say for
Mhm.
example, just to keep it simple, I would say ask or have a look at it that if you are raising 100 million, how much you have raised from the bank, how much you are putting, and how much you are taking from EB-5. Because many bad projects might be taking the more money from an EB-5 than putting their own money.
Right.
And they are not getting the enough money from the bank. So that ratio of the EB-5 investment into the project is also a good indication to show that this is a good projects or it's bad projects or it's probably risky.
Okay, okay. And also, Prashant, but people, let's say, because there's also always this confusion that people, let's suppose, don't necessarily want to be in the US but want to make an investment. And can they do that by being in their own country, or do they necessarily have to be in the US to do the investment?
For the EB-5 purpose or for the other
Yeah.
other purpose you're talking?
Just for, and not just for EB5, but let's say they want to make an investment.
Well, it's a free democratic country, irrespective of your legal status and irrespective of your country, unless there is a trade embargo. If you have a money, you can buy a whole America.
That's right. Or maybe the whole world, right? You never know.
Right. Well, not the whole world because they are not. Because see, in USA, you can buy a agriculture land. People always have a question, particularly in India and Asian subcontinents.
Mhm.
Yes, you can buy. I know two of my clients has bought a huge piece of lands in California and in North Arizona. They have bought the businesses. They have bought the investment into the real estate, and we do provide that services in India for our Indian clients, whereby without going to America, the first services which we provide is to open up a bank account for them. So we open up a bank account for them in America. They don't have to have any status in America. They don't have to have any visa to that. Without visiting bank, there are certain banks who will open up a bank account for you. So money is transferred in that bank account, and once it is done, then they decide to make an investment into real estate or a stock market or combination of both, or just a saving or a mutual funds. But yes, you can make an investment and there is no restriction to that.
Okay, that sounds great. Also, I would like to take few Facebook questions, and I would like to go to the Facebook groups. But before that, Prashant, also, just a follow up. Do you think for a program like these, because you need or does it also depend upon the kind of government that you have? Having the right kind of government in your country, does that also make a difference?
In your home country, or you are talking about US?
No, not US, but your home country. So that they can have the good ties, and
Home country.
they can good
Uh,
relationship. Uh-huh.
I see it in a different way, Rajni. Particularly when it comes to the South Asian communities and when we are looking at the residency and citizenship. When you are in India and when you leave the country for as a student or everything and you settle there, they say that it's a brain drainage and the talent is
Yeah.
going away, right? That's the always remarks we get it from the people. That's the one way. Now
Right.
the second one is that okay, businessmen are going. So when
Mhm.
businessmen are taking these steps in South Asian countries, they say that oh, probably he must have gone bankrupt, and that's why he's going away, because
Mm.
the concept or thinking in people's mind is still that you take an immigration when you are not doing financially well off in your home territory,
Mm.
and that's why you are moving, and
Mhm.
that's why the traditionally people were going to America, Canada's and other countries because oh, you are educated but there are not good opportunities, not good
Right.
job availables, and that's why you are going. But
Mhm.
now the trend is increasing with this investor program. Then they say that you are taking our money away and this and that. But no, I'm
Yeah.
completely against that. I'm completely against that. I'll
Mhm.
tell them few things. I'll tell you that one as well. If we didn't allow our IT professional to
Mhm.
go away, and if we made a rule in India that if you are an IIT graduates and IIM graduates, you cannot leave India. Do you think that we would have a top CEOs and CFOs of the world today? What we
Absolutely
are
not.
seeing. So
Absolutely
then
not.
why you are complaining? When they go to
Mhm.
the top, then you want to praise them and so and so forth. So, and also within India, when these old folks and some of the businessmen ask me, oh, there is so much opportunity in India, why you are going away? Sure, there is a lot of opportunity in India. Have you not moved from your village to Mumbai or Delhi? That is a
Absolutely.
migration.
Yeah.
So if somebody is going for a better opportunity, his fate is taking him to Canada or in America, why you are
Mm-hmm.
making a issue about it? No, you should not. And
Mm-hmm.
the EB-5 and the residency and citizenship is for a high net worth individuals. For a personal perspective, what it is
Mm-hmm.
better children's educations, better quality of life, my business expansions. We are talking about the SMEs, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
the billionaire children are not going to come under these categories because they have their own business to manage in their countries and so on and so forth.
Right.
And but for the country like individual country like America or Canada, Australia, New Zealand, now the golden visas in European countries and Canada, why they are doing these programs?
Mm-hmm.
Is this EB-5 bringing a lot of money for them? I don't think so. Compared to the US economy, this is completely negligible investment coming. But what these countries see this one is bringing the SMEs into this through this in our country. So rather than taking up a jobs, they will create a jobs. That's number one. And these businessmen, when they settle in our country, SMEs, most likely they will go back and do business, which is an import export with their home country. So these small individual investors will increase the bilateral trade between the two countries. And that is
Right.
the fundamental reason to bring these investors, not that they look handsome and beautiful, and that's why we want to give them a green card for $1 million. No,
Right.
this is the overall object of the whole immigration policy of any country you look at it, and why they open up a doors for the
Mm-hmm.
investment program. That no, money is coming. I mean, I'm not denying
Mm-hmm.
that one, but
Yeah.
that is helping the individual companies and individual investors to get his green card, and that guy is getting a cheap money for his project. But for
Mm-hmm.
overall America, what it is doing it is creating a jobs. These individuals, rather than taking a jobs, they are going to create the jobs. They are pumping their money in. Don't they deserve a green card? And eventually, to be honest with you, whatever every EB-5 I have done it, those guys have done in America exceptionally well because they were successful businessmen and they have skyrocketed their
Right.
journey compared to their peer
Mm-hmm.
who has gone to America. They work very hard. They were coming from a very weak economic background to
Mm-hmm.
start with. It takes them 10, 15, 20 years or 30 years before they reach to a stage where they become say that I've achieved my American dream. But
Right.
for
And
these
also
EB-5
opened up the
investors,
doors for and also opened up the doors for the other nationals, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it opens up the doors for the other nationals, and in a particularly in IT industries, this is an
Right.
ideal program. I'll give you an example. I've dealt with a few clients.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client who was a master's degree from Delhi, and he
Mm-hmm.
got the to study with the in NASA to do his NASA
Mm-hmm.
in international security. While he
Wow.
was there, obviously he come up with the ideas to do a startup.
Mm-hmm.
So the VCs in California were ready to make an investment in his startup. When they were doing the due diligence, they realized these guys do not have a green card. They stopped. So if he had a money, he says, Mr. Ajmera, I would have taken a green card in no time, but he had to come back. So many people, those who are in IT industry particularly, they are trapped in their EB-2 and EB-3. They cannot achieve their American dream further beyond their capacity because now they are
Right.
stuck with that particular company. And
Yeah.
not all of them, but many of them deserve to be a better than just having a job of 200,000 in Google's or Microsoft's or whatever the company. And I have a client like that. That when
Mm-hmm.
they got their job, they were from IITs and IIMs, campus recruitment in Bangalore, 2, 3 years in Bangalore. They moved to USA. 3 years, they said, we apply for your green card. He says, American dream achieved. In 2 years, he realized it that no, my life is destroyed because I'm going to be stuck with this company for at least next 8 to 12 years before I get my green card. And that's my white collar exploitations, and I want to get out. And the parents are coming to me and say, Mr. Ajmera, can we do a green card? We don't have a money, but I think we have to help my son to so he can start up his own startup.
Right. Okay.
So these are the people or folks who are looking at the EB-5, those who are already in USA but looking at it.
Right, right, absolutely. And the it's complaining, or we shouldn't have that bad feelings for them. Rather, we should be supporting these kind of people, right? Because of them, the country is actually there. They are putting the country on the globe, right? People are talking about your country, and
No,
if that didn't happen, we don't think that Kamala Harris would be running for president this time, and we would have people like Vivek Ramaswamy over there.
absolutely.
Right? Don't you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But Rajni, on a yearly basis, Reserve Bank of India makes an announcement how much money we have received in remittance, in foreign remittance, right? They make it. And all this money is remitted by the Indian who has gone all over the world. And they are remitting money back home to their relatives or friends, or they're making an investment. There we are not making a complaint that guys stop giving money, we don't like your dollars. So it's a kind of, I would say, means in a very rude manner, but a little bit of an hypocrisy that,
Yeah.
okay, the grapes are sour or I could not go.
We can call
So
that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But otherwise, actually, this residency and citizenship, I use it in another perspective to the Indian businessman, that when you are competing with a country like China or India, I mean, the Taiwan and Koreas, and we say that in import exports, we are always behind them. We cannot compete them. We cannot beat them for a variety of reasons. But one of the main reasons I tell them that the Chinese, Taiwan, Koreans, Vietnamese, the Asian, East Asians, they have used these residency and citizenship programs for USA, for Canada, for European countries very extensively, very extensively. That I make an investment, I get my residency, so I can have my warehouse in America and I can distribute my goods from Chicago to on East Coast and West Coast both without any problem. Which Indian exporters or Indian businessmen are shy to take away. Oh, we want to do a business sitting in India, export business. Okay, sure, you can do it. But take an example that you want to deliver a goods where the Chinese guy says that I can deliver that goods in 3 days to you in America. And you as an Indian exporter says that I can deliver in 3 months. Which one would you take as a in American importer? You will go with the Chinese. So
Right.
this EB-5 is another way of looking at it for the Indian businessman, that for expanding a business, should I take an L1 or should I take an EB-5? I mean, for some, the L1 is a good resource is there. I mean, good way is there, provided you have a definite plan to expand the business and to get your green card. And it's the most economic way. But if that's not the case, look at EB-5.
Right. Absolutely. And Prashant, the time currently is 3:04, and we didn't even realize that. But still, I would like to continue. But the conversation is so interesting. So, one more question over here, Prashant. Right now, India is the fifth largest economy in the world, and
Okay.
as per Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he says by 2047, India is going to be the third largest economy in the world, right? So, do you think with that difference, with India coming to it, is also going to make a difference for EB-5 visa and for this investment program?
No, not
No.
at all. See,
Okay.
again, if you look at the United Nations, the history and the data and latest conclusion, in the past, the migration was happening because of the adverse conditions in their home country. It was a famines, it was a drought, the floods, and all this one. Now, since last 30, 40 years, we are passing through a phase where we are going through selective migrations, that you decided to migrate. It's by choice. And then in that perspective, you are becoming a global citizen. So, I mean, it becomes very obvious that are you going to stay in India? Yes, I'm going to stay in India, but my brother is going to take care of an office in India, and I'm going to take care of an office or a business in America. I mean, doesn't it make sense? So why this residency and citizenship is going to stop down? There's no way it is going to stop down or is going to dilute. It's going to increase. That people will say that, okay, let me put $1 million. I got my right to be in the USA. I want to expand my business. So that is my first capital investment to get my green card. And
Right.
then I'm
Regardless
going to
of
make
India
a
being fifth, third, one, first,
right,
that doesn't
yeah,
matter.
exactly,
Right.
because see, to do the business in this country, you need green card and citizenship. The days are gone that you can say that, okay, I'm sitting in Trivandrum or in Kochis or in Nepal in a small village and I can do my import export business. No, those days are gone. You have to be a global citizen. You have to be traveling all over the world. And if the US green card or probably the residency and citizenship by other countries, if you are doing it and if it is becoming available, why not? Like, give you another example. Up till 2013, Rajni, there was no visa available for the startup founders. There was no visa available. How do you apply for that? They are not experienced people. They are not unsuccessful businessmen. What they have is just a bright idea, right? So
Right.
that the Canadian government come up with that startup idea in 2013 October, and now as you are in these industries and doing the shows, almost every country in the world has come up with the startup visa because they realize it that this is the way to get a bright ideas in our home country.
Right.
Even
Absolutely.
country, even country like even country like a UAE and Saudi Arabia, they say that okay, we want innovation, we want a bright ideas, we want to bring them. We have infrastructures, money, and everything. How do we bring it? And who doesn't want those bright ideas? Everybody wants it, and everybody
Yeah.
wants to have. So now it has become a phenomena of the way of doing it, and in that reason, you can say that immigration is going to. So that mindset has to change. That migration is for the people with the economic weak condition, and it is for the people brain drainage and businessmen going away, and it's a negative to the country. That thought should be completely changed, that it is better for the country, it is better for this one. Unless and until you go out of your home, do you think that you're going to make a living in your own city? No.
Absolutely.
There is no work, there is no work from home, right? It was days were there during the COVID time. That was an extraordinary situation. So similarly, when you want to say you want to become a global economy, we want more of our Indian entrepreneurs out there in the world who
Absolutely.
promote India, who promote business. Like today's newspaper, you know the shocking news in India? First time the iPhone export is larger than the software market.
Wow. I didn't read that.
The
Okay. Wow.
yeah, the it's just today's new headlines. I think it was in Times of India and it was in our local newspaper as well. That first time in the history, the iPhone manufactured in India are taking over the software industry of India.
Amazing.
And the people in America, they love iPhone. Now they want to see, open it up and say, is it made in China or is it made in India? We want made in India iPhone.
Wow. That's that's news. That's big news. I
So,
must say.
so that's the news. So where we talking about the American economy and 5 trillion economies and doing this one. So still we want to move forward in economy, but our thoughts are backward.
Right.
That's not going to
Yeah.
happen. So if we are a global citizens, move around the world and
Yeah.
do it.
Yes, we want the city and the world to shine, but if we are just lighting the candles, not turning on the lights, right?
Yes. Yeah. Any more questions? Or
Yeah, just it's 3:10. I know you have to also go. Just I'll quickly take a few questions from the Facebook. So I'll just quickly share my screen, Prashant, for you. And here are some questions regarding EB-5. So let me quickly take one or two questions. before we wrap the session. So, okay, there's an anonymous member, and he says, any recommendations for regional centers with low fees? Mostly charged $80, $80,000 now. That's way too much.
Yes, there are regional centers who can reduce the fees. Also, there are good lawyers are there, and the agents are who can negotiate the fees on your behalf. But if you go to the regional centers directly, they will not reduce the fees because that's their standard rate. So you have to
Oh, yeah.
go through there some good intermediaries, and if you go through that, then you can do it. Like if this client comes to us, probably we can help them out and negotiate a
Definitely.
good deal for them.
Great, absolutely. I would like to share your details here. I would like to request the control if we can please display Prashant's details on screen so that I can read them out for this anonymous member and we can definitely share the link to this person. So, anonymous member, if you can please connect with Prashant Ajmera. Here is his phone number. This is his India phone number, +91 99 742 53030. I would again like to repeat his number. This is his India number. I would like to mention +91 99 742 53030. You can also email him at prashant at Ajmera Law, which is www.ajmeralaw.com. Yes, please get in touch with Prashant so he can help you out with your problem. And now let me quickly take one more question. And this is from Girish, and he posted this 3 days back. And he says, "Hi everyone, just curious if anyone has ever used Fiverr for a business plan. I am in need of it as I'm preparing to apply for EB-5 visa shortly. Let me know your input if there are any other reliable sources or sites available on." Prashant, what do you have to say?
See, EB-5 business plan probably, yeah. So probably looks like the Girish is trying to do his own or a direct EB-5, and there are certain companies are out there who are specialized in writing the plan for an EB-5, whereby they can do the projections, they show the 10 full-time jobs, and so on and so forth. So certain companies are out there, but it has to be very reliable because I've seen some of the companies doing the very nasty jobs or bad jobs, and it can basically break and make your EB-5 applications. So if you are trying to do your own business and writing a business plan, EB-5 is the key to your success of an EB-5. Uh, don't go on online. Probably you want to chat with a few people and get a reference of the good company who can write a good business plan for you. It might be worth a little bit extra, but you want to find out a good business plan who are specialized in EB-5, because there are many companies who are doing the business plan writing for an immigrations like an L1 visas and E2 visas and other categories, and they do it for Canada as well. But there are very
Right.
few companies who write it for an EB-5, so you have to be sure about it. I've never heard of this company, 5ERR.
Yeah. Okay, okay. So, all right. So maybe Girish, also, if you can get in touch with Prashant, so maybe he can help you out with your problem too. So the details are scrolling below. So what you can do is you can get in touch with him, and he will be helping you with your problem. So let me quickly take one more. Prashant. So this is from Rajneesh Mishra, and he says, in Dubai, going for EB-5, worried about loss of capital. Let's connect. Do you have any like advice for him, maybe?
I already mentioned, but I'll repeat again those questions that yes, the by law, your capital of EB-5 is at the business risk. And idea is that if you have a right professionals to advise you to minimize that risk, to make it almost like a no risk kind of a situation. And for that, the certain questions you can ask as like an ordinary person is, since how long you are in the business, since how many EB-5 projects you have done it, do you have a EB-5 regional center approval, do you have a project approvals, do you have, who are your escrow accounts holders, who are your chart accountants. So these parameters, if you ask them basically, and if you are getting your right answers, and if they give you an answers, then those could be a good way to do it. for an EB-5. And if you don't do your due diligence and go on a friends and relatives recommendations, then yes, that could be a possibility you may lose your capital.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Rajneesh, for posting the question on Facebook group. When you will be watching this show later, I hope you'll be getting an answer from Prashant. We are definitely going to share the link in this Facebook group for him. So thank you so much, Prashant, for your
Thank you very
answers,
much.
listening to your answers. And I really was thinking that we will be able to cover this whole topic in this whole episode, but I don't think that was possible because there is so much to discuss. In EB5. So I would like to do an episode 2 of this topic. So would you be interested in doing an episode 2 maybe next week?
Yeah, sure. Next week is what? Next Friday, you want to say?
Yeah, next Friday if you are available, or maybe we can connect, post the show, we can connect and we can discuss when is the right time for you
Yeah,
so
next
that we
Friday.
can.
Friday evening.
Uh-huh.
Friday evening is fine for me. It's okay. I mean, I can do it. And this time is like not my working hours in India, so it's my time after that. So if this is the time going to be next Fridays, I'm fine.
Okay, great, great. So we already have got the green flag from you. We are definitely going to do this next week, next Friday. Same questions next week, and we all also will be taking the questions from the Facebook groups. Definitely in our next episode. But for now, it's been 1 hour, almost 20 minutes. So I don't want to take any more time of yours. Thank you so much, Prashant, for being here. It was such an insightful episode. I really enjoyed listening to you and speaking to you. And I hope it
I
was
told
a
you.
super hit and a blockbuster debut for you, was it?
Yes, absolutely. And I told you that we will enjoy these shows because I love talking about the immigrations. I love talking about the residency and citizenship. And I can go on. Like if you put me another hour, I can go on. But anyway, it's a time has come. So we will connect the next Friday and we'll do it. And also the means another things which we can do in your show is about from the BB5 is generally what I do now for the Indian parents and children is we call it an international career counseling, that if you're planning what you should do, what you think about it, and how you do about it. The parents who are already in India, millennial parents, young parents, they want their children to study abroad, and that has become over the period of time, Rajni, it has become my expertise more like an international career counselor, that we deal with the parents and tell them that look, this is what you are looking at it, what agent has told you or what you have found out from the internet, or I can go to America or Canada and my life is set. It's no more a case. You need a serious thought to it, and you do. So
Right,
that's
right.
something we can do it also on a regular basis as well, if there is an interest there. Anyway, nice talking to you. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you very much to your team. You guys have done wonderful jobs and very professional looking, and I'm excited.
Thank you so much, Prashant. Thank you so much for your kind words. And guys, if you want to get in touch with Prashant Ajmera, here are his details. You can give him a call. This is his India number. I would again like to repeat. So +919974253030. You can also email him at prashant@ajmeralaw.com, and you can also visit his website www.ajmeralaw.com. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much, Prashant, again for being here. Looking forward to our
Thank
next
you.
week's episode. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in and for sending your great number of questions. And hoping to see you soon. And until we meet again, I'm Rajni Bharara signing off. And keep posting your comments and keep asking those questions in the comments below. Our experts will be there to answer your questions. So yes, keep watching and keep subscribing to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. For now, I'll have to take your leave. I'm Rajni Bharara signing off.